Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Hey,
Hello, guys. Good afternoon, everybody.
It's a
Hello.
rainy day here, but that's
here
good.
too.
That's good.
Really is gray. Wow.
Yeah,
What?
it's just
You know
more
what?
time to put the Christmas lights on. That's all. That's how I look at it.
Put them on earlier.
Yeah. um, but anyway, guys, just want to start off by saying hello to who's here. Adam, good to see you. Kelly, good to see you. Paul C. See No Evil. Arlene. And I think that's it for now. But more, I'm sure
Chris
more
Trock
folks
is
will
in
be
here. Paul is
commenting.
here.
Chris Trock. Chris Trock.
Paul's here. Kelly, we're good. Nice.
Yep. Thank you all for joining. The scene that we're going to talk about today is a significant scene because it has a lot of symbolism in it. So we're going to take our time going through it. It's the time in Cuba. I mean, it's actually multiple scenes, but it's the time in Cuba that we're going to focus on. And there's so many angles in the storyline that come out of this, what takes place in Cuba. So it's a pivotal point in the movie and in the total Godfather saga. So
It
we're
is
going to dedicate the show just to that, and we're going to take our time going through it.
It really is an interesting scene.
So the scene starts in 1958. It's the end of 1958. It's
Okay.
a few days before New Year's Eve, 1958.
Okay. It's 58.
And this is where the movie weaves in reality, because at that time, Cuba was governed by a dictator by the name of Batista, and the communist rebels, run by Castro, were gaining ground every day, gaining more ground. The United States had backed Batista for a while because he was a stabilizing force there. That was the only reason the United States backed him. But he was not a popular dictator, and there was a lot of support for the communists, and this is where we end up at this particular time. Now, not knowing the characters at the time, not knowing what's occurring, because what actually happens is on New Year's Eve that year, Castro takes over, kicks out Batista, and we see that in the movie. So that's the reality part of this. But the other reality part of this is that the mafia in real life, the organized crime in real life, were really invested in Cuba, and that's what we're seeing here is the investment, the potential for monetary gain in the casino and the hotel industry there. So it was basically a gold mine from their perspective because there wasn't government regulation. There wasn't any, as long as you paid off the government, you were in good shape. So it was perfect for organized crime. So Hyman Roth is already there, and Michael makes the trip to Cuba. And the scene opens up when Michael's driving through the streets of Cuba with Thindu's buddy, the Zip, right next to him. They're actually in a cab, I believe, or some type of, and as they come closer, the people are in the streets. The people are like chaotically in the streets, and that's the way it was at the time. And he actually bends over and rolls up the window for Michael so that nobody could get near him, fearing, that's the bodyguard part of this. He's acting like the bodyguard. And so that's the first scene we see him, and you see real life setting in Cuba. And I wonder if that was really no, there's no way it could have been shot in Cuba. It's probably some other South American country that they made look like Cuba for that scene. I didn't really look into that to see where that scene was filmed.
You know what I wanted to say? Argentina.
It could be, yeah, could be Argentina.
I don't know. I think my father had said that one time.
Mm-hmm.
There was a discussion about that in the house, I think, and that's why that always came up. But good, that's good.
Yeah.
I have a question before we go further.
Go ahead.
So the deals were made with Batista, right?
Yes.
Thinking that they're going to carry over into Castro. That was the whole thing, right? That thinking that they're okay together or not. So why were they so secure in the business going forward?
Well, here's the thing. I don't think they ever believed that Castro would take over. They believed that Batista had control, and so all you do is make a deal with Batista.
Okay.
They just, look, they're not international scholars, like they didn't study it very well, I guess. But that's the lay of the land there. Everyone thought, look, the United States was invested in Cuba. The United States was providing Batista with money and providing Batista with ammunition and stuff to fight off the rebels.
Yeah.
So it was a good bet. You think about it. If the U.S. is backing him, he's probably going to win.
And the mafia.
Yes, and then the deal with the mafia, right? Exactly.
Oh yeah, it's a win-win, double 2-0.
Mm-hmm.
They had all the casinos there.
Yes, absolutely.
They owned every casino there.
I just wasn't sure. I wanted to confirm.
No, it's a fair question. Hello, Osada. Thank you for joining, my friend. All right, so the next scene is an actual board meeting in Batista's palace. And at this meeting, you see Batista at the head of the table. And I actually have a picture of it I want to put up. Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's Batista at the end of the table. And seated around him, we have Michael over here, right? We have Michael over here. And Roth is up here somewhere. And they announce who's there. They go around the table. And this is just like a corporate environment, right? Yeah. And there's many corporate representatives there. It's not just the mafia. It is General Foods is mentioned, United Telephone and Telegraph Company, Pan American Mining Company, South American Sugar Company, and
big
then this
money.
What was it? Say that again?
All big money stuff.
Absolutely big money. And then he introduces Michael Corleone, who he says this is I thought was kind of funny, representing tourism and leisure activities. That's what Michael was introduced as.
Oh my God, that's great.
Travel.
That is classic.
That's what that's under. Travel.
That is great. Oh my God, that's hysterical.
And then he finally says, and our old friend our old friend Hyman Roth from Miami. So
they say travel and leisure.
Yeah.
All under traveling and entertainment, boys.
You need it.
And in this particular scene, you see that Batista is handing something over to one of his helpers there, or one of his aides, and he's going to pass it around the table. You remember what that was?
Telephone.
Yes, a solid gold telephone. Given by the United Telephone and Telegraph Company. And now, what do you think that represents? Because to me, this is the first point of symbolism in this.
Open line of communication for all of them, I'm assuming.
Yep.
I think it also, yes, I think it does, because the telephone was the international sign of communication at the point. And then it was also, it also represents being solid gold, the huge investment that's being made into Cuba, a lot of money being put here by everyone at that table. And that gold, the reason that it's gold shows you this is what's being invested. A lot of wealth is going into Cuba at this time.
Like it.
You know the best part of the phone?
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Was when the passing around part was all their faces when the phone was going around the table. They'd be like this. All right, just get the phone out of here.
Yeah, right. That's a great point.
They go like this. Huh?
Yes.
Okay, great looking phone. Like they didn't even care about that stupid phone.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right, Thindo. And I remember my father pointing that out. He used to say, "Look at Hyman Roth. He doesn't even look at the phone. He just does this."
He paid the least attention to it, right? Everybody else took a little.
Why are you bothering me with this heavy phone I have to pass around? You know,
right?
That's how the old timers were. Why are you even bothering me with this? You know.
Joe Della, welcome, Joe Della. Welcome, Slimity Cricket. Nice to see you, my friend. This is your first time here. That's great. Great to see you.
Good guy.
I know. I've seen him on your show. I've seen him on Godfather's show. I think it's the first time he's been at one of our Godfather get-togethers.
Yeah, we mentioned it yesterday.
Yes. We didn't mention
So,
it yet.
and so they're at the meeting and they're talking. You know, they don't show you too much in the movie about the meeting itself, but there's also a comment that's made there where he says, Batista says, "We will tolerate no gorillas in the casinos or the swimming pools," which is an evident of that there was a significant amount of guerrilla activity, meaning rebel activity, meaning the communists. And they joke about it. And that's an indication of the devil may care attitude that they kind of had. They never thought that this would be a real thing. They never thought that they would be successful. It's kind of joked about that. Okay, they have rebels. Okay, ha ha ha. They're never going to get anywhere. They're never going to overthrow me. That's basically what's going on there.
Because it was a measly 134 man army.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have to tolerate. They can extinguish them immediately. They thought. Mm-hmm. They thought.
Right.
All right.
Well, I mean, like that. Listen, that's the whole thing of you treat the people like garbage, and they turn to someone else. That's what it comes down to, really.
100%,
you know,
absolutely.
Unfortunately, they turned to communists, and it was worse for them. So,
yeah. And everybody lost. What it would be today, can you imagine?
Right. I mean, that place would be a mecca. It would be. Oh my God, what a mecca it would be.
It's beautiful.
Okay. So the next scene we see is Michael driving with Johnny Ola in a vehicle, and they're stopped because there's guerrilla activity there, and the police are the army is shaking down people or whatever they're doing there. And we see what happens is one of them blows up, and there's an explosion. It's basically a suicide bomber. He kills himself to kill one of the captains there, and Michael sees this. And this is a pivotal point for Michael, because this is where Michael gets the idea that, listen, this is not going to work out. I was fully invested in this, but it doesn't look like it's going to work out for us. Because the one thing that comes to his mind here is that these people are willing to do anything. They're willing to do anything. They'll kill themselves they could win, basically. So that's an important point. And he brings that up when he actually gets to Roth's birthday party, which is the next scene, right? Roth is having a birthday party at his hotel room, and there's a bunch of folks around there. There's a lot of people. They don't really tell you who's around there, but there's people from the families in Kansas City there, I believe, and Chicago, like the West Coast, the West Coast dominated families that were prior before the Corleones go out there. There were the only people in Nevada, and they're there too as well. And this is a major symbolism scene here with the cake. The cake comes out, and the cake is a picture of Cuba, like it's in my thumbnail. And they actually show you, as Hyman Roth is talking, cutting up Cuba. They're dividing up Cuba, handing out a piece of cake to you, handing out a piece of cake. This is yours.
I didn't
this
catch
is yours.
That.
You know?
Yeah. Nope.
I never caught that. How did I not catch that?
That's exactly what they're doing there.
It up. He was slicing it up.
Yeah, it makes beautiful sense.
Putting it on.
Great sense and great production. Great, but wow, I didn't even catch that.
I had a picture of it, but I don't know what I did with it.
It is your thumbnail.
It's the thumbnail, yeah. It's definitely the thumbnail.
I love the way the zip stands right next to his side at the cake cutting.
Yes. Here.
Oh, he was right behind them.
Let's see. Here it is. Hold on.
He was right there. He never said a word. Just watched.
I think he wiped his head one time.
Look at that.
He wiped his head. He was like, "Phew, this is hot. This is hot in the sun."
Now look at this.
I never
67. This is what I never caught till just now. 67 years old. Hyman Roth is 67 years old at this time. I thought he was like in his mid 70s.
Yeah.
I thought he was in his 80s. The way he looks in it.
Right.
He couldn't go to the bathroom. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. He's only 6 years older than Dean do. Wow.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Think about it.
But as they cut the cake and he hand it out and he says, make sure you all see it. And everyone looks at the cake, and then he starts talking about how they're going to carve up things.
Beautiful. That's
you're
beautiful.
Going to get this. You're going to get that. Blah, blah, blah.
You know what? The best part of it is, though? Look at the knife they're cutting the cake with.
Yeah.
There's no cake knife.
Well, yeah. Yeah, what is it? You're right. It's not.
That's a Michael Myers knife.
It's a
You
sharp
don't cut
edged knife.
cake with
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. It's like who pulled that out of their trunk to cut the cake.
Yeah.
That's all.
You mother. What I just saw on the TV.
What'd you just see?
What happened?
The Giants game.
Oh.
He he on purpose hit DeVito's shoulder, back of his shoulder with his helmet.
Who did?
Saints.
Oh. Is he
I
out of the
don't-
game?
No, he's all right.
Oh.
I don't have that game.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to interrupt,
Mm.
but that,
That's okay. It's DeVito. Come
we're
on.
Italian. We're Italian
He's a
guys.
Goomba.
We're doing an
DeVito's
Italian
a Goomba.
show here, so it comes up. Yeah.
I'm getting a DeVito jersey. I can't wait.
Nice.
Hello, Mike F. Just want to say, stop for a minute and say hi to Mike. So, Bucky is here too. How you doing, Bucky?
I was
So,
waiting for
here's
you guys
here's
to see
the
DeVito jersey. Go ahead.
the Vito jersey.
Well, that's what I'm getting, but I was waiting for one of you to say a DeVito jersey. Like Buffalo Eagle?
No, I'm like, yeah.
That's all.
Oh, he's a paisan, so you got to show, yeah, right.
That's why I'm showing my colors. Yes.
As long as you don't get the Tony Cutlets thing, you're good.
No,
don't get that.
no.
Please don't get
I'm
that.
gonna get his jersey with cutlets on the back.
Okay, so let's continue here. And so in that meeting, Michael said he tells the story to everyone there about witnessing the suicide bomber. And he says, and Hyman Roth says, well, what does that tell you? And Michael says they could win. Now, this is a key Machiavellian point as well, because one of Machiavellian's tenets are you don't trust hired mercenaries because they only fight for money, whereas people that are invested have the advantage. So it's the Machiavellian theory. And that the people are going to win because they're not fighting for money. People who fight for money only fight for money. That means they can lose. They have a weakness. They're not going to go all the way. They're not going to do suicide for money. But the rebels are willing to give their lives for it. So this is a key point in how Michael, using his Machiavellian brain, realizes they're not going. This is a wrong investment because we're going to lose it all. We're going to lose it because ultimately they're going to win.
But is this when he was telling Roth about the story?
Yes.
And Roth says, well, what does that tell you?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Now, Roth is saying that Roth wants to know because Roth is already suspicious. Roth is already suspicious because he hasn't received the money. Now, the money part of this is that Roth and Michael are both, as the two lead people here, are supposed to give Batista $2 million apiece. So Batista is supposed to get $4 million from them. Roth gave his $2 million. Michael has not yet. Michael is still holding back. And in fact, at this point, it's not even there because towards the end of the party, Roth says to Michael, your $2 million didn't get to the island. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you, number one, he's monitoring what's going on. How does he know the $2 million is not at the island for yet?
I always wondered that too.
You know?
How does he know the 2 million? Almost spent. ALB, like you said, how did he know the 2 million never got there? Unless it was,
Yeah.
I think intuition, and he was waiting for him to say the 2 million got there. He never told him.
Yeah.
He makes a definitive statement to Michael. He says the 2 million never got to the island. I mean, he says that to Michael as if
he was waiting on a message. He was waiting on a message then.
So if at a minimum, either now here's the depth part of this. Now it depends on how deep you're going here. Could they still be talking to Fredo? And could Fredo be telling them?
Yeah. You know what?
Silo
just hit that on the head right there. As soon as you said
Fredo,
that,
Silo says Fredo. Right. There you go. Right. There you
Fredo
go.
was telling them, yeah.
But that's what I was thinking. Like maybe Fredo was still talking to Johnny Ola. And so therefore Johnny Ola knows he's not there yet. He's not there with the $2 million. So that's just something to think about there.
Huh?
He's out. DeVito's out.
Is he? I wish I got that game. I can't see that game. I got the Dolphin game on. I got Tony Stylo on.
Number 2 is in, whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, it's like a high school player. Okay. All right. He's running in the back now.
No, you're right. You're right, Silo. It was Fredo. Fredo was I said from the beginning, Fredo, he was all that.
So that's what it looks like, right?
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one observation.
That's one way. Yeah, we don't know for sure, but that's one way it could have happened. For Roth to be so definitive in saying the 2 million didn't get to the island,
Right.
he's either having somebody follow Fredo or he heard directly from Fredo.
There's moles everywhere, or rats
Yeah.
and moles from the beginning of time, as you can see.
Benedict Arnold's.
From the beginning of this whole thing, there was always somebody shady in the mix.
Now, there's another part of this that I wanted to mention. When during Roth's party, when Michael brings up the whole issue about the suicide bomber, Roth says these people.
That word. Watch what that word. Be careful.
Suicide? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
well,
Stop.
listen.
It's not good to have it in the street. I'm just saying, ALV.
Yeah.
I try not to say that word because that word is trouble. I'm just saying. I'm sorry, I interrupted your whole.
Well, anyway, what does Roth say? Roth says these people have had rebels in their blood. They have rebels in their blood. They've always had rebels. They always will. So Roth is trying to calm him down, dispel his fear. And he also, this is another thing I wanted to point out, is like Roth brings up, and he speaks of the past. Now, this is a technique that Roth uses with Michael. He harkens back to his father all the time. Whenever he's speaking to Michael, he harkens back to Vito. And he sees this as a connection, as a weakness for Michael. At least that's my opinion. He goes, the trucks provided by your father. And he smiles. You know, he's trying to build that relationship with Michael to keep him off guard always, that he's the friendly old guy that worked with his father, that he could be trusted. You know, we ran molasses into Cuba. The trucks provided by your father, and he smiles like a nice old grandfather.
Yeah.
You know, this is the conniving nature of it. This is the
always
big game
comforting. He's always comforting him.
Yeah.
That way. That's like more of a comfort. Me and your father, all that's comfort, you know.
It's like high level name dropping.
Yeah.
Which
and it's all done
Michael
for
was smarter than that because he didn't trust
all done for a purpose. And the ultimate goal, or the ultimate thing learned here, is that Roth underestimates Michael. That's what this all comes down to.
Yep.
Roth always underestimated Michael.
Yes,
in his ruthlessness, always underestimated him.
I wonder if he might not have underestimated him. He might have thought this guy is really shrewd, really smart, but let me try and work these angles here to get him a little more comfortable. Possibly, I think he knew how shrewd Michael actually was. And this was his way of trying to soften him, trying to get him to step back a little bit with kindness.
Yes.
Manipulate his brain, so to speak. But
no, that's it's a common technique. You speak in a way that person wants. You think that person wants you to speak, and subjects that person likes. His father's involvement. It's very evident that he worshipped his father. Everyone knows that in that community. They all know that. So it makes sense that he would try to exploit that to get the best out of it.
So he tried at that point, but.
Now, there was also something in the script that was never made it to the movie, obviously, that Roth's plan ultimately was to kill Michael, get rid of Michael, and insert Fredo as the head of the family. That's because Fredo was weak. Fredo could be manipulated. So he didn't want to take over the Corleone family per se. He wanted to insert a puppet in charge. So his idea was to kill off Michael and then put Fredo in there, and then he'd be able to control Fredo. Fredo would be able to, do what he wanted to do.
Yep.
He'd be a front boss for Hyman Roth, basically.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly.
He knew he was soft. He knew he could puppeteer him.
Control him. Yeah.
Yep. That was easy.
Exactly.
Once you got the guy flipped and working with you against his family, that's easy right there. He's done.
Right. Hello, Angela, the right winger. Good to see you.
that would have been a start.
Gianni in the
Because
house. How are you?
that would have
I'm
been
sorry, go
just a
ahead.
start to get Fredo in there.
Mhm.
Right.
And then by
Baywatch,
that
my
point, you
man.
would get Fredo in there, who would be Fredo's second in command, and then that's who would be handpicked by Roth.
Well, here's what I would think would happen is I think
Actually,
Johnny
in my
Ola would.
brain, the setup would be to get rid of both of them eventually, Michael and Fredo. Now he's got total control.
Well, yeah, of course, but as long as he controls Fredo, there's no need to get rid of him. The only time they would get rid of him is if there was a problem. And my guess is that person that would be there representing would be Johnny Ola. Johnny Ola would basically be the underboss. You know,
Yeah.
Fredo would be the figurehead, and Johnny Ola would be running everything for Roth. That's my guess as well how it would work.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's not to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
There's always that one turncoat. Always.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they sometimes you always know who it is. You know,
Going off camera for a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Baywatcher, my man.
And you know, the other thing that Roth says in that scene is, at the point of my death, I will turn over all interests to Michael. In other words, he's announcing to everyone that Michael is his successor. You know, how could he be his enemy? He's my successor. You know.
There goes the softening up again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Wow. He knew how to do that, I'll tell you that.
Absolutely. And okay, so now the next scene from that is Roth laying down. You know, he's ill. He feels ill. The doctor's there examining him. Michael is there as well. And this is where Michael says, you know, he asks Michael outright at this point. This is after the rest of the people leave the party. He asks him, so you're pulling out? I don't see the money. You're pulling out. And Michael says, no, I just want to wait. And now this is an important scene because this is when Michael knows this opens up everything for sure for Michael as to the Pantangeli and Roth scene interaction, because Michael asks him who had Pantangeli killed. He asks Roth who had Pantangeli killed, right?
The Rosado brothers.
The Rosado brothers, right? The Rosado brothers.
Rosado brothers.
Yeah. And he says, but who gave the order? And then we get this tantrum from Roth.
Speech.
You know,
right. Well, you know what? You could tell by his face that he was lying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He went into the whole speech, though.
Right. And this is where we learn that Roth is harboring this hatred for the death of Mo Green, because Mo Green he treated as a brother, you know, and Mo was killed, and that comes out. Now, this is a weakness on Roth's part. Why would he open up like this? He must feel so confident at this particular time to open up a weakness like this to Michael. He thinks he's got the upper hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't do this.
Right.
Or he let his emotions get the best of him. I don't know here what that means. But this, for once, tells you once and for all that Roth had Pantangeli killed.
Yes.
But he didn't. But he wasn't killed. That's the other thing here. This is the thing that bothers me is, how does Michael not know that Pantangeli is alive? How does he not know that?
Yeah. That's his number one guy back in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you think you get that phone call? Yo, Pantangeli, he's missing for an hour. I mean, yeah, it is weird, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he was so busy, he wasn't paying attention. I don't know.
I mean, think about it. If it happened simultaneously, right? If that hit happened simultaneously with Michael flying to Cuba or taking a boat to Cuba or however he went there, I guess the communications weren't there then. Like there's no way to communicate what happened.
Putting it this way, that's like if one guy, one gets hit in one borough, every borough knows a minute later what just happened. So how could you not know something like that? You know, but that's just an example, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even you know, how fast it goes to the next city, you know, through the, you know, the telephone and the lines, you know, it goes fast.
So basically at this point, the Rosado brothers think he's dead. And everyone and the Corleones think he's dead. So what happened? I'm assuming what happened is the police pick him up and immediately when that happened, brought him into custody and
flipped him.
You know what I mean? It's a little, I don't know. It's just a little hard for me to believe that people wouldn't know he's alive until after.
Because he was off the street, like you said. They grabbed him. Nobody knows. Nobody knows if he's alive.
But here's the thing. But if he was dead, where's the funeral? You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. If he was dead, how come there was no funeral?
Like, again, we'll have a 10-hour movie. Remember, think about this. You'll have the 10-hour movie. So it's odd. Yeah, it's a little odd.
It is. Well, like Silo just said, there was no phones. There was, like I said, it had to go over the
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of high level. I mean, something like that, you send a stork. That message is getting there.
It goes by snail mail.
Getting there.
The pigeon comes with a little message on the.
Yeah, the pigeon. There comes
message in a bottle. It's getting there somewhere. Somehow it's getting there. Smoke signal. They're getting it there somehow. But they didn't. I don't know. Could go either way. It's a weird one. It's a weird part.
Yeah. So,
yeah, Adam's right. I agree, Adam. They leave out the for the sake of time. Yeah, because possibly.
No, I get that. I get why they didn't show you. I know that's why they wouldn't show you this. But my point is that if there wasn't in the storyline, if a funeral didn't happen, you have to think he's alive. You have to think he disappeared. You have to think not that he, you know what I mean, that he's gone, he vanished. Yeah. So I don't know. But anyway, so let's see what's next here on our agenda here. All right. So the next scene is Michael meeting with Fredo. Fredo comes to the island with $2 million in a bag. And now I think a couple of things I'd point out about this scene. Fredo's stupidity comes out here as well when and this is subtle, but I still think it shows his stupidity. He's in a room with Michael and the Zip, right? And he begins to he says in front of the Zip, he says, "Oh, can you imagine $2 million in $2 million in a bag and me on the plane? I'm really nervous." And then as he's opening up the bag to show Michael the money, he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, there's somebody here." You know what I mean? Like, it's just like if you say you have $2 million in front of somebody, listen, what's the difference whether you open the bag or not in front of them? But Michael says it's okay. But it just shows the stupidity of Fredo in that he's not very thoughtful about anything, really. He's not thinking through things at all.
You know what? Those last two comments make very great sense. First, Baywatcher. I'm so sorry for interrupting, but these comments are good. Like Baywatcher says, I think I remember this. Thinking, Michael doesn't look for his guys.
Right.
That's a great point. He was in Nevada. He was he was setting up. Great point there, though. Great point.
But he was alone.
Huh?
He was alone.
Yeah, well, he's doing his own thing, just like Pantangeli said. You're up here in the mountains eating, surfing turf.
Yeah.
He did maybe forget about his boys for a little while. Who knows?
Or by design. Could be by design too.
Right. We're only assuming. We don't know.
Yeah. And we don't know. That's a good point because we don't know what the connections were between Michael and the New York family. It's still Corleone. It's still the Corleone family. But who's the go-between? If there's somebody, that's got to be somebody that's checking on it. But we don't know that.
Right. It's just, Tony said the same thing. They kept things low, too. They kept things very low.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's this scene with Fredo and Michael. They go out to eat for an afternoon. And this scene tells us a lot about Fredo's feelings towards Michael.
Huh.
And hold on. I have a picture here I wanted to show. I think I have a picture here. Here we go.
That scene was the total meltdown scene.
Yeah.
For Fredo. Oh my God. He melted down. Fredo would have been better off going to talk to a donkey in a stable. Okay?
That right there. Oh my God.
And he basically admits to Michael that if Michael didn't have a suspicion to date, at this point he's got to suspect. He would have had to suspect him. I was mad at you. I was mad at you. Why don't we do this before?
Anthony, I could never understand this when I was younger. My nana would sit there and go like this. No nome de padre. Meschino. He's a meschino.
Hold on.
Meaning, he don't know any better. He don't know, my grandmother felt sorry for me. Why did they put a guy like that?
Check this out.
Call him the Meschino because he don't know any better, don't know nothing.
Check out Baywatcher's comments. Baywatcher's comments Baywatcher may have not been watching from the first series we did. I don't think so. I think Baywatcher's new to this series, possibly.
Yeah, Baywatcher.
This one right here. This comment.
Yeah. So this comment goes back to Baywatcher when we did Godfather 1. Anthony read the book.
Yeah, he's late
and mixed in all the missing parts. Unfortunately for Godfather 2, there's no book to fill in any of these gaps. Where 1 and what Anthony's reading, it brought it all together. Like he said, though, unfortunately, this will require more research. But unfortunately, there's no book or nothing. It's all you just suppose, I guess.
Right. It's his first time in here. And we're like, he probably don't know we did about 20 shows already coming up to this point. That's all.
Anthony has the playlist set up if you want to go back and check it out.
So do I.
Yeah, that's true. You can always look at you can always go back.
Baywatcher, you'll see how Anthony put the book parts in and we brought everything together. We can't do that so much with Godfather 2. That's why we're up here kind of supposing and giving more of an opinion than we did in Godfather 1.
Right. Right. And like there's no book, like I said, like Tommy said, there's no book. The only thing that we have as an outside reference from the movie is the original script, which has scenes they didn't use. But there's none of the detail that was in the book. When you have the book as a reference tool, that was really helpful to explain exactly what happened. So
it's unfortunate, but it makes us have a great conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What the show's for.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, look at the look on Michael's face as Fredo's having this meltdown. He's like, okay, all right, Fredo. It's as if he's like, okay, this is Fredo. This is this is why this says so much.
This is really him. Yeah,
Mesquine. I'm done.
Great. That is great.
Now, here's another thing I wanted to mention about this scene. Now, in this scene, Michael says to Fredo, he tells him, he predicts the future. He says, at midnight, I'm going to be escorted out in a military caravan for my safety, and I'm going to be assassinated. He tells us to Fredo, and then Fredo said, Fredo has like a dumb look on his face and says, "Well, who's doing this?" And he says, "Roth." And so now, my question for you on this is, how does Michael know this? How does Michael know the plan to kill him by the military people? The military Batista's people are going to kill him at the behest of Roth. At the behest of Roth. How does he know this?
Either he was tipped off, or he is just that shrewd.
Mm-hmm.
He's very smart. I mean, he's very intelligent.
I think you're right. I think you're right, because if there was a tip off, I think he's just supposing. This is the logical way he sees it happening. This is what I think is going to happen. He's not going to let me go home. I'm here. He has the primary in with Batista. He's going to use that against me. All I have is me and my bodyguard. So he's going to use that against me now.
So I think he supposed the worst case scenario and kind of put it into a possible reality. And then anything better than that is fantastic. It's the way I think. That's the way I saw it. I don't know. I think he also says this to Fredo because he wants to gauge Fredo's reaction. He wants to see how Fredo's going to react to that information. Yeah, Gianni says it too. He's right. Gianni says the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Silo right there. Those are two good comments. Yeah. And Delmore put 2 and 2 together. Yeah. These guys are all around with us. Beautiful. Excellent.
Now, here's a question for you that leads from this scene, though. Michael also tells Fredo, I've already made my moon. Roth is not going to survive the new year. He tells this to Fredo. Now,
Yes.
does Fredo go back and tell Johnny Ola?
He might want him to.
You know, he might. You're right. That's a good point. He may be doing this on purpose. He may want to tell him that. I don't know. That's because remember, Batista sends men to protect Roth. Why does he do that at that particular time? Could it be just the revolution? Maybe it could be just the revolution happening. Or were the men set there because Fredo tipped them off and said, Fredo tipped them off and said, there's going to be a hit on Roth.
And money.
There's going to be a hit on Roth. So get people over there.
He paid off Batista big time.
Yeah, of course, money. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Hello, Craig. Yes.
Hi, Craig. Good to see you.
You never saw this movie. You're going in the trunk, you.
Wait a minute. He never saw this movie.
Does he know which movie we're talking about?
I didn't think people existed that didn't see this movie.
I know. My kids saw it.
Craig. Come on, Craig.
My kids saw it. At 7. At 7, it was.
I think he's just busting our chops.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's breaking goyonis. I'm saying, I listened to this guy talk in a podcast, and he's never watched The Godfather before. Yeah, okay, Craig.
I knew he was breaking balls. You son of a gun. I was gonna put you up for adoption.
Yeah, okay, Craig.
You were going right up for adoption, if that was the truth.
Too funny.
That was a good one. Look at Tiny. I was going to say Tiny Silo. Tony Silo was all over him.
He got him. Huh?
What?
So at this point, Fredo says, how can I help? How can I help? Now that you told me that Roth is going to kill you, how can I help you? Well, I need you to take out some dignitaries for a night out on the town. And our old friend, Senator Geary, is there. And there's some judges there. There's some congressmen there. So these are political allies of both the United States political people that are allies of the mob at this particular time. They're on the payroll or they're being blackmailed. So they're there to see what they can get out of this, right?
True.
Now, this is one thing I totally forgot about this. When Michael is meeting with Roth in the back room after the party, this is an important point. Roth says to Michael, "We're bigger than U.S. Steel."
Okay.
Right? This is an important thing because he says we're one step closer to finding a man that wants to be president of the United States and having the money to make it possible. Okay. So this is a direct reference to Kennedy, the Kennedy campaign. This is a direct reference to that.
Okay, I was wondering that. So I was curious about that because I thought the years were off when I watched this scene the other day. I thought the years were off, but it seems to be right there.
Yeah, because the election's in 60. This is becoming 1959.
Okay.
It's the New Year's Eve 58 becomes 59.
Got it.
So the election is coming up. 1960 is coming up, and there's your connection right there. There's your dose of reality that's put into the screen.
So he says we're bigger than U.S. Steel. We're getting the president in. And did you hear him say about the hearings? The hearings in this. Where were the hearings? The mafia hearings. Culver. Who's that? Culver hearings.
I think there were two.
He mentioned Culver. Was it Culver?
Yeah. There's two hearings. There's the ones that Robbie Kennedy does. No, but there were ones in the 50s. There were ones in the 50s with what's his name? The rat, the original rat.
Yeah, Valachi, but that's different.
Valachi, yeah.
The Culver, is it Culver? Is that the name?
Yeah, I think it's Culver
hearings, whatever. Yeah. Culver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Culver hearings. Not many catch this. He actually references that by name. Because that happened before this now.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes, definitely before this. Absolutely,
The Culver hearings happened before 58, correct?
Yes,
59.
Absolutely.
Right. So he mentioned it. We'll have a president, we'll have this, and we'll have we'll even have the covert committee away from us.
Yeah. Yes, he does. You're right. You're right.
Nobody catches it. It's at the end when he puts his hands on.
Yeah.
He says, we're bigger than U.S. Steel.
Yeah.
Then he says that, and they go right to the next scene. Not many people catch that.
He says the covert justice, and he says the Justice Department, covert Justice Department. He says both there. Yeah.
Right.
He does.
Yes. Yeah. Yep. He does mention it. Not everybody catches that.
Yeah. That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah. So he's thinking now. He's thinking green light across the board, 2 countries.
Mm-hmm. Right. And listen, and that bakes into reality all the theories behind Kennedy's demise. All of that, it all goes into this. It all comes in because they thought they had it done. They had it over with. You get this guy elected, it's all sailing. It's all smooth sailing.
Both countries.
Yeah.
They think they're controlling both countries at that moment.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable how they made how art and life imitated art in this.
Yes.
In these few scenes. It's unbelievable how it really did.
All right. So then the next scene is Fredo has everybody out at the club. And this is the part where Fredo shows again how stupid he is. When Johnny Ola shows up there, Michael introduces him, and Fredo looks like he's like the most guilty looking thing in the planet. Like I never met him. Like just it's like the worst actor imaginable. Like
horrendous, horrible. I couldn't pick a better guy for that role. He was perfect. He was perfect.
And it's a shame that
without even speaking, he looked as robust as he was without even speaking. They picked him perfectly.
Right. And it's such a shame that actor died young. He was such a good actor.
Dean, what? He was in that and the other one, Dog Day Afternoon.
Yes. Dog Day Afternoon. Exactly.
That was where he was in The Deer Hunter.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Great actor.
John Casal or something.
Yes.
Casal, I think. Yeah, Casal. Yeah. Yes.
He was in a lot of good movies.
And died young. Imagine if he. What a sin.
I know.
Imagine what a career would have had.
He died young. He probably had the tag of Fredo on him. What the hell?
It was typecast, right? That was it. He was done.
Oh, how would you like to walk around with that title?
So then the next scene is he takes them. Fredo takes them out on the town and takes them to a sex club, and this is the key here. Now, Fredo is so in his element that he forgets that Michael's even there. He forgets his lies. He forgets everything, and he says the words that seal his fate, which are Senator Geary asks him, Fredo, how do you find this joint? How do you find this place? And Fredo's response is, Johnny Ola told me old man Roth would never come here, but Johnny Ola knows this place like the back of his hand. And he doesn't even realize, like, he doesn't like say, oops, like, oh, what am I doing here?
Stupid. Just that stupid. Wow.
And here is the look on Michael's face when this happens.
Disgust, throw up, vomit.
This is everything is clear at this point. It's completely clear. There's no more suppositions. There's no more, maybe Fredo didn't do it. Maybe Fredo was taken advantage of. Maybe, none of that stuff anymore. Now it's all Fredo. This is it.
100%.
100%. Yep.
Wow. He locked it in right at that moment. That look tells it all. He sealed the deal right there. He sealed it before, but that really put in reality.
That was it.
Listen, pardon the pun, but he put the nail in the coffin right with that saying right there.
Yes.
He did it. Adam, that's a good question. On the look on his face is both. I think. What do you think that look is? Anger? Look at that question.
I think it's like honestly, I think it's because then when after that look, he does this. You know, he goes down like this.
Yeah,
Michael goes down like this. It's like, it's disgust, and it's also like your heart dropping out. Like, oh my God, my brother did this to me. You know, my brother is the issue. You know, like, how do I deal with that?
Throw up into the throat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. At that point, there's no question.
It's his worst nightmare. It's his worst nightmare. The worst thing that could happen to is someone that you grew up with, that you have the same mother and father, did this to you. That's the worst thing that could happen. Think about it. How could it be my brother did this to me?
Let's get off that subject.
Well, it's part of it. Yeah.
No, but I'm just saying, you know, like that's how it goes.
Know.
Yeah. All right. So the next scene is Johnny Ola gets it. Johnny Ola gets clipped, and you know the Zip gets him in his hotel room not with a garrote, but with a hanger. It's like, if you look closely at that scene, it's like a hanger. He crushes his Adam's apple. He just presses it on, and that's it. And Johnny Ola's history right then and there. And the idea was that he kills Johnny Ola and he goes right to kill Roth. But unfortunately, at that particular time, the doctor's there. There's the wife is there. Everyone's there because he's ill. So they're going to take him to the hospital. So that changes plans. So Roth gets a lease on life for a second. He gets out. He goes. So the Zip has to come up with another course of action here.
That's a great comment right there, Baywatcher. Another one. Just thinking how heartbreaking this trip was.
Yeah.
Oh, up
absolutely.
above.
Yep.
That's a great comment.
You got that right, Baywatch.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just total.
But he didn't lose his $2 million, though. He was smart enough not to lose his $2 million.
Yeah, smart about that.
Could you imagine if he would have lost the $2 million? Yeah. Oh boy, Bobby.
Yep.
Yeah, Silo, that's a good comment too. Yeah, he kept his composure. He confirmed that because he was able to keep his composure. That's the key. That's his strength.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. And Baywatcher said it before, because maybe his military background gave him this ability. But his father was that way too, in some ways. So a little bit of everything.
Todd Father, I don't hear you guys hear anything.
I got the fire truck over here.
Oh, okay.
Santa Claus is coming to bring me candy.
I mean, a lot of people don't know. A lot of it. I guess you got to go through that to feel that disgust and that vomit in your throat, just about ready to come up. I mean, I wouldn't wish it on nobody, but
not a good feeling.
It's a different feeling than you'll ever have. It's different than death. It's different than mourning. It's different, you know, when you're just thrown out like that by someone you loved.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about a woman-man relationship.
That's
no, yeah.
No, I'm talking about what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good feeling. I can tell you
very,
that.
very, very, very crushing.
But
yes, absolutely.
But he was all in. He had no way to turn around. He was all in.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
listen, Michael's strength is his ability to not show emotion, to not let emotion take control of him. And he's at a point where there's nothing, you have to have an emotional reaction. You know, you have no choice.
You're right. The only one he has is, we'll get there later.
Mm-hmm.
The only emotion we see at him is in Godfather Part 3 at the Vatican.
Right.
We'll get to that when we get there, but no emotion till that point.
Right.
All business, even when he was trying to be, even when he was talking to his nephew and all of that. Anyway, there's a lot to unpack.
Hey, Down Neck, good to see you, my friend.
There's a lot. It's a lot.
Right.
Why do they think Michael is soft? Oh, they underestimated.
Why do you think Michael is soft or a mark in the first place?
Because he was not involved in the life.
Oh yeah, right.
So they wrote him off, so to speak.
Right.
That he'll never be a force to be reckoned with, and then all of a sudden, boom, here he comes.
Right. Exactly.
That's what I think. That's my thought of that.
So, all right. So Roth is taken to the hospital, and the Zip is going to the hospital, and he shows up carrying flowers, like he's going to visit somebody. And he waits till the strike of almost the strike of midnight, New Year's Eve, when all the nurses go away to have a drink. They all go away to have the drink. He slips in and he grabs the pillow, and he's going to take care of Roth once and for all.
The dreaded pillow. I love it.
Exactly.
Oh. Now that's a pure hitman right there. Who grabs a pillow?
Right.
Any means necessary. Any means that he used a wire hanger. He used a pillow. I mean,
all quiet.
Yeah.
All quiet.
All quiet.
All quiet.
No noise.
Nothing.
And think about it. It's so perfect. The guy is in a hospital, basically unconscious or on tubes. People die like that all the time. No one would even question it. No one even questioned it.
No, they just died. Yeah, they just heart attack. They rolled, whatever. Yeah, the illness got them. How about the music? ALV, the music when he came here. The music was great.
It would have been.
Mm-hmm.
But
unfortunately, Batista's soldiers, a platoon of Batista's soldiers, come in just when he's smothering him and take out the zip.
That's crazy.
So Roth lives for another day, right?
Yeah.
Now, the next scene is the actual ball, the New Year's Eve ball at Batista's palace. And this is one we see once and for all. Hold on here. This iconic scene right here. The kiss of death.
The kiss of Martha.
Yep.
Martha.
Wow. Unbelievable. Wow.
Now this goes back 2,000 years, if you recall. Remember, Judas kisses Jesus. That's how he identifies Jesus when he betrays him. He kisses him to the Romans. So this goes back, the kiss of death goes back 2,000 years. And they work it into this script, which is just amazing. You work this into this story.
It's perfect. I mean, really nobody else uses the kiss of death but the Sicilians.
Mm-hmm. And he says, I know it was you, Fredo. You broke my heart. You broke my heart. And this is the most realistic Michael, I think. This is where you see Michael, you see the emotion and the anger all together here. He really had his heart broken. He really had his heart broken at this point.
I have a question.
Fredo.
I got to ask something.
Wait, Godfather asked, do you think he knew? Oh, yeah, he knew.
Wait, this is my question. So it goes back 2,000 years. We know the kiss of death goes back 2,000 years. We know Joe Valachi really started to turn when Vito Genovese gave him the kiss of death. We know about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that before this, or is that art? Is that life imitating art?
That's before this. Genovese? In timeline, it's before this because this is
Valachi is when, the early 50s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yep. Gianni hit the nail on the head.
Oh, right there. Oh, right there. Yeah.
Well, Stiggs just said that.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't see the comment.
Yeah.
I had the same mindset as Johnny at that point. I was just curious as to the timelines. Because this is 59, Valachi's early 50s. Okay, so they use this obviously from 2,000 years of history plus art.
Plus what actually occurred in the real life mafia. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Nice. Bringing it all together. Good.
I know Bucky. Bucky's right too. That was
So, Fredo's reaction to this is he's just petrified, right? He backs away and slinks away into the crowd.
He knows.
And then you see, the revolution happening as this is going on, and Batista announces, I'm advocating and I'm leaving the city. I'm giving power. I'm giving up power. I'm leaving. So at this point, the city is going crazy. The everything's nuts, and Michael needs to get out. Everyone needs to get out somehow. And Michael he sees Fredo in the streets. Now, Michael, now here's my question to you. He sees Fredo in the streets there. He says, Fredo, come, I'm still your brother. I'll get you, I'm still going to get you out of here. Do you think that's real? Or do you think that would have been the end of Fredo right there? Like, do you think it would have been?
I think it would have taken him to his death.
Yeah.
Or What did he tell him? We got a plane for you to take you back.
Yeah, come with me. He said, "Come with me."
Yeah, it was just
you're still my brother. You're still my brother. I'm not gonna leave you here.
No, but inside,
revenge is
didn't he
best
tell him?
served
Oh yeah, he
cold.
says we had a plane. We'll take
We
us
have a
to
plane for you. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So he was going to take him to the plane and throw him out of the plane. God.
No. He was going to take him back to New York and do
not
it
even
his
right
way.
over the water. In the middle of Cuba and Miami, he was dumping him.
But Fredo, and as stupid as Fredo is, he didn't fall. He went his separate way.
It was a matter of life and death. This was not being shyster. This was a matter of life and death at that moment.
And somehow he gets out. And somehow Fredo gets out. They don't tell us how he did, but he gets out of Cuba somehow. Right. And it's kind of mind-boggling too, because Roth, I'm sure Roth's money got him out, obviously, but Johnny Ola's dead. Johnny Ola was the contact for Fredo. So how Fredo gets out, who knows?
We'll see. Well, we don't really know.
We don't really know that, but and then the final scene that we'll talk about today is when Michael's back in Nevada, and he's meeting in the hotel in the Nevada. It was what was it? The Desert Inn. They meet in the Desert Inn in Nevada. It's him, Tom, Rocco, and Al. And this is where Tom breaks the news to him that first Tom tells him Roth got out. What else did he say? Your bodyguard's dead. He's basically briefing him on all this. Your bodyguard's dead. And then Fredo, he thinks Fredo got out. He's probably in New York. And Michael says, all right, get a message to him. Tell him, I know he was misled, blah, 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 come back,
just to get him. Yeah.
Just to get him back. I mean, and when we know he doesn't do anything immediately. He doesn't do anything to him immediately, but he does come back. Fredo does come back. And this is when Tom breaks the news to him that Kate is no longer with child. And you see a pivotal point here when Michael loses complete control of his emotions, and nothing but rage comes out of him. And when he asks, was it a boy? And Tom says, Mikey, after 3 months, and there's an explosion response from Michael that says, can't you give me a straight answer anymore? Like just pure, was it a boy? And he doesn't know. Tom doesn't know, because Tom doesn't even know that it was an abortion. He just thinks it was a miscarriage at that point. God. It's not until later that we learned that it was an actual abortion that Kate got.
Right.
But you see how important having another son is to Michael, how important it is. He wanted another son. He wanted to be his father. He wanted multiple sons like his father. He wanted to pass on the lineage through a son. That was that's the core of Michael right there. The rage you see there is the disappointment in his plan not happening. His plan was to have another son and to be more like his father, continue to be more like his father, and pass this stuff on. It's not going to happen now because the child is gone. So I think that's an important scene too, because it shows you Michael's what's really important to Michael. The continuation of what he's building. And the only way to do that is through sons. That's his opinion. The only way to do that is to have more sons. Now, I'll just add in the book, the Godfather itself, he does not have a daughter. He has 2 sons. So this scene wouldn't work in conjunction with the book because he already had 2 sons in the book. It might have been 3. It might have been 3. I don't know. I'd have to go back and see. But there was not a daughter in the Godfather 2. There's the daughter and the son. So they changed that.
This is unbelievable. This is amazing.
Yeah. So that's where we'll end today on that on scenes. The next time we do this, I don't think we're going to do it next Sunday's Christmas Eve, so we won't do it next Sunday. We'll take a week off. But what I want to say is the next scene is back to 1920s New York with Vito. That's the next part we're going to go, and with Fanucci and all this other stuff. It's really the part of the Godfather that I love the most. So that's what we're going to do. That'll be the next scene that we talk about.
New Year's Eve.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do it on New Year's Eve. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't want to do Christmas Eve because people
No,
have
no, I can't.
things
I'll be
going
traveling.
on and everything.
Yeah.
And I personally hate New Year's Eve, so
Yeah,
I don't celebrate New Year's Eve. I hate it.
Patty, no, you don't have a homework assignment, but anybody that watched, you can go back and watch our playlist. It's all there.
Absolutely.
Anthony has them in sequence, and you could go watch both movies.
Right. If you have any interest, by all means, do it. And I would greatly appreciate it too, because it'll help me with watch hours. Which,
watch those. They're there.
So. Watch those prior episodes if you haven't caught them, and I think we did a good job on all of them. So
it's up for them to judge, but I believe so too. I'm going to pat ourselves on the back. That's what I'm going to do right now. Except for me and Dean do cursing a little bit. We had a few mishaps in the beginning,
and we had no curses today either, which is good. None. And Thing didn't even need the mask. Didn't even need the mouth tape.
So by episode 45, we learned not to curse, huh? I don't think I cursed last week either.
No, last week you didn't have curses either. No one cursed last week.
I've been good. Tinder's been pretty good too, I think. We're doing all right. Oh my god. This is great. All right.
Any last thoughts before we close out?
This was I was just thinking how this is. I'm living this all over again. As we finish this scene, I'm going back to the first scene in Godfather 1, and it's all together, and it's just incredible to be doing this. We're learning as we're going. We're learning history. We're catching things we never saw, and we probably wouldn't sit down and watch this movie unless we see it on TV, which we would leave on if we did.
There's the Indo ready
for tonight.
Oh yeah, Patty Daly loves the evil Santas, Patty.
Is that a mask?
No, it's from the 50s.
Those Santa heads they used to hang up. Yes, I my grandparents used to have those.
They used to only put lifesavers in cards.
Wow. Patty loves it, huh?
Oh, she loves it. Yeah, try to find one of these suckers.
Oh yeah. No, you can't. You can't find them. But that's a good point. Let's plug tonight at 7 o'clock.
Yeah. Somebody could drop it. I mean, everybody
Stiggs' channel. If somebody, Todd Father, if you're still here, you could drop it, or anyone I can't tell who's a wrench here. I have wrenches, but I don't know who they are. If you could drop it, that would be helpful. Tonight at 7, we're going to have the Christmas party with everybody there. So please join us. It should be fun. We don't even know what's going to happen. So it'll be fun.
I got it. I'm just going to go through it. I'll figure it all out. I'll work it out.
There we go. Thank you, Todd Father. I'm going to pin it.
But basically, I want a few people to give some input, and I got some questions I want to ask you guys and some observations I made with our group and all of that stuff. There's a lot of new people coming in here. I'm going to touch on that. So we'll have a nice show tonight. Whatever it is. Look, there's no pressure.
Right. Exactly.
We are a group of guys, gals that just having a good time hanging out. This is just like sitting around the table, just in a different way. That's all.
Yes.
Want to touch on
to your point, Tommy, every week when we do a scene, I rewatch it and I really think it through. And I always think of something else that I never thought about in terms of the scenes. Like I watch it I have it on DVD, so I watch the scene that we're specifically going to, and I think about it, and I'm like, I never thought about this before, but A, B, or C, like these things. And that's the genius of this movie, is that there's so much depth in it that you can always go back and find something new to think about and make you think.
That's a good point. So there's depth in our aspect. Now I'll take one of these scenes and watch it with Charlie. He's 92.
Yes.
92-year-old he's a Sicilian. And he'll give me a real backstory of all of it. And although a lot of them are anti-mafia,
they are definitely anti-mafia, definitely.
But the cultural aspect of it, they really gravitate to it. They grab it. So that's why this movie is for everybody. It's not just mafia.
Right.
It's cultural movie.
You know what? I'd love for you to watch the scene where he goes back to Sicily and takes care of the old Don. I'd love to hear Charlie's reaction to the scenery there, like the scenery when he goes back to.
All right, I got to find that scene. I'll have to find that scene.
Yeah.
He's got COVID now. She's beating COVID, but
boy. Okay.
Once he's good, I'll definitely do that.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, guys, I want to thank everyone for joining.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for joining. It's been another great episode, in my opinion, and I hope in yours. Thank you, everyone in the chat who's been talking and contributing. Tony, Silo, Baywatcher, all you guys, Adam, See No Evil, Gianni, all you guys going back and forth. It's really appreciated. It really adds to the show. So you're basically part of the show. By your comments, you're part of the show. So thank you for that. We really appreciate that.
Really good. Really good, guys. Thank you, guys.
And I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Well, we'll have our Christmas party tonight. We'll say Merry Christmas. So join in for your Merry Christmas wishes tonight. But but anyway, thank you so much for joining. God bless. Have a great Sunday.
Hang on, Dean. Oh, wow.